meeting tonight for the recreation?
We don't need a motion. You just need to call it to order.
Okay, I'd like to call the Recreation Committee meeting to order on May 3rd, 2021. All in favor?
Me,
Yes.
Jimmy's here.
Yeah, he's coming on.
Okay, good.
Can I make a motion that Gina run the meeting?
Yeah. Seconded.
No,
in
we have
favor?
our chair here. I'll just help him out.
Oh, boy.
It's easier when he's sitting next to me. I can nudge him and tell him what to do.
Is there a
Hey,
motion?
Brooke. Hey,
Jim?
Brooke,
Yes.
I saw on the agenda that you have May 1. It should be May 3rd.
Yeah, Brooke, you're also not recording.
I am recording.
Yeah,
My,
she is.
my agenda says May 3rd.
It doesn't say up in the corner recording.
Yeah, it
Yeah, it
does.
does. We are recording.
Mine
I don't
doesn't.
have it out in Golden Gate.
Maybe that's why. That could be. That could be.
Different time zone in California.
I wish I was there. Right. Okay.
Jim,
what's
can you
the-
hear everybody?
Yep.
Jim? Oh,
All
okay,
set.
hi. Hi, okay.
What about Tommy? Can Tommy hear?
Yep, I hear you, Mike.
All right.
You sound good, Mike.
Okay, what's first on the agenda?
Approval of minutes.
I hear a motion to
Okay,
approve the minutes of April 5th. Any
Yep, I
discussion on
have-
the minutes?
I
Okay.
have some changes on them.
Gotta get a second.
What,
Is
Okay.
Gina, are you running the meeting? Just for clarification, please?
Go ahead.
Mike, are you not
No.
running it?
No, Mike's running it.
Mike, yeah, let Mike
You
run it.
just need a second in order to have
I-
a discussion about minutes.
I
Yeah.
second. I
Second.
So Mike made the motion and Gina seconded.
Yes,
Yep,
Discussion.
okay,
Go ahead.
first off, I've never heard this word, but I'm sure it's a word, a kerfuffle.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a
The same
word.
as a cluster blink.
Oh, okay. Okay,
I can change it, but it is the word that was used.
nope, that's fine. That's fine. I kind of like the word. It's different.
No.
Okay, down for,
Couldn't use that one. Who used that one?
Judge
One of
Judy.
the public guests.
Oh, okay. I kind of figured that, but
yeah, we don't kerfuffle something.
Just once in a while.
Okay, I should have printed this out and read it. You know, Mark, there were a couple things I was questioning. Under the mission statements, this is one, that when it talks about Ms. Hunt had held a license, the whole reason for mentioning that was that her suggestion was that it should come under the auspices of Park and Recs. And I see, you know, Charlie's comment, but if we could add in what her, what she had wanted, excuse me, what she had wanted to say, and that way there it kind of just flows into what Charlie's answer. If that makes sense.
Actually, I didn't understand that.
Okay.
Ms.
when-
Glasconi noted that Town Clerk Marilee Hunt had wanted to attend the meeting. She noted that Ms. Hunt held the license for Music Alley.
Right,
Mr.
but
Okay,
if we could just add in there, after she held a license, that she wanted to suggest that it be switched over to Parks and Recreation. And then
Okay.
continue on with Mr. Simon suggested.
Was that said at the meeting?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
I relayed what Marilee wanted to, what she was saying.
So
So
we'll,
if we could just add that in, and let me scan real quick, because I thought there was one other thing. Like I said, I should have printed it out. Charlie, while I'm looking, how many people do you have working for you?
I have one full-timer and Raymond Wilcox Jr. And I
Okay,
have one part-timer that works no more than 20 hours a week. For a
okay,
total of $9,600 a year.
okay, who is your part-timer?
Jay Toppin.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I think that's all I see, so that must be it.
Are you saying I made a comment about the music alley?
You did.
And what did I say?
Mr. Simon suggested that it also should be under community development, like the parks.
Correct, not under recreation.
Correct.
Yes, okay.
But
that's
the,
correct.
okay, well, we should approve the minutes and then put in the discussion like separate, that the parks aren't they under parks?
Well, you can talk about that later when you get into other stuff.
Right,
but
that's what I said, we should discuss that, but, okay, that was my only change.
Okay, are you waiting for a vote?
On the minutes as corrected.
Okay,
Okay,
would like to have, I'd like to entertain a motion to have a vote on accepting the minutes from.
as
April 5th,
corrected.
As corrected.
Motion to accept as corrected.
motion, second,
All in favor?
aye,
Roll call.
Okay.
Can I have a roll call?
Yep. Mr. Buron,
he's sleeping.
I
He
will,
needs to.
I will abstain
Mhm.
because I was not there, so I'll abstain.
okay. Mr. Campbell,
Yes.
Mr. Flaherty,
Yes.
Ms. Wasconi,
Yes,
and who did I forget? One, two.
Me,
Oh,
Mr.
Mr. O'Riggy.
yes, yes,
Okay, thank you.
okay.
Next, Mike,
I never got a list of what we were supposed to be discussing tonight. An agenda.
That's-
it came in
Okay.
one of the emails if Emily wants to pull it up, but it's, we're on the golf course update, so I'll just go into that. We've been, pretty busy when the weather's cooperated. We, even though we aerated on the Tuesday and Wednesday after the Patriots Day, and we haven't had really good growing weather. You might get a day of warmth and then a couple cold days, but I'd say probably in a couple of weeks it'll be up and running pretty good. But we also accomplished some paving of 3 cart paths, and I was actually out there last night, and they're excellent. They look real good. The first hole we continued from about halfway down all the way to the 2T, and we did the 5th hole, and we did the backwards from the 7th tee down the hill down to the bottom of 6 on the left side, which really needed it. So we got some good responses about that.
Charlie, couple questions on the first hole now goes all the way down.
It goes all the way to the 2nd tee, ties into the paving that came off.
When it's going along the hills, where is it? What side of the hills? I was just curious.
The right side of the hill on the second hole.
Okay, so I'm just curious, if you have a day where it's cart path only with 2 coming up to share the same path?
Yeah,
Yep.
pretty much. It's 9 feet wide.
Okay.
It'd be close, but
And then what'd you
yeah.
do on, I missed, I couldn't hear you. What'd you do on 6?
on 6, when you come up to your third shot, or some of you big hitters,
Down by the one where it goes in the gully there?
yes, down on the left, down the bottom, on the very left, and it goes up and around the back of the green and ties in with 7T. That was always a mess.
Right. Did you tie it in? I'm just curious too, again, you come off the tee box and you're scattered. Did you continue it up by the trap or is it?
No, we haven't gone that far. That's on the second phase down the line to come all the way up the left side
Oh,
of
that's
6.
great, because I think down in that gully was getting kind of rough and bumpy there. That's great.
Yeah,
So
oh
you-
yeah, where that bottom is, it was awful going up around that.
That
So
must
you-
have hit, that must have beat the heck out of the cart, the carts.
Yeah, it did. And, we fixed it over the years. I know Dyer came in a couple times and regraded it, and we've taken the Caterpillar and regraded it, but it's just the way the bend is, it was always washing out and you'd have a heavy rain. So that was a really big one. And then from 5T down to where it tied in. See, a lot of these holes had them down by the green and then around the back of the green to the next tee, and then it would stop. So on the 5th hole, that was the same thing. Starts at the 5th tee and it goes all the way down to the green. So that's the
So-
whole idea eventually, is to have it tee to green on every hole.
So right now at 1, if I'm coming back on 2, I'm on the 1 and by the pond, I just veer left,
Yeah.
right?
That's correct. Yeah. And that
That-
goes all the way.
Is
And
that
that
done?
goes all the way around 3, all the way to 4, and then
4
4
scat.
scatters. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then 5 all the way down to 6T, scatters, and then you pick it up, and that goes all the way down 7, all the way around to 8, all the way down 8. And then 9 is going to be an issue because 9 is really beat. And
Yeah.
the next big one that has to be done is 10 and 11. So eventually that'll happen.
What was done came out really nice. I played the other day. It was really good.
Yeah, they did a really good job. So, yeah, and then let me see what else.
When do you think you'll be doing the other ones? How many more years before you get funded for that?
Well,
Be a long time?
well, we were hoping to have money in the budget for next year, but that was not in the budget. So looks like we'll have to wait a couple years. So let me see what else. Everything else is, pretty much as is. We're starting to get a few more employees on the maintenance side, and also on the ranger side. So we desperately need them on the maintenance side because of the fact that you're trying to do a lot of work out there, and there's not a lot of people looking for jobs. I don't know why, but very difficult to even get somebody. So we're relying on guys that, working 20 hours a week, that kind of thing. So hopefully we can get a couple that have applied. They've gotten the approval, which takes a little time to go through. But we're on the road. So all the leads,
How
all
were
the
the
leads-
revenues this winter? Was a lot of play this winter?
yeah, it was pretty good. It was steady. I haven't got the exact figures yet from where we stand, but I know right up through, July on the new fiscal year, we were up every month about 10%. So compared to what we had done in the prior year, and that continued through the winter. On the other side of the coin, when you have play continual through the winter, you're getting a lot of divots out there. The
Right.
course, I would say, is not in as good a shape as it was last May when we opened after being down for 2 or 3 months, because of the fact that you have carts out there now that we've been having going out, and they get in the rough, and they're driving all over the place, and it takes a little beating. So like I said, it's not in the greatest shape right now, but I'd say in a couple weeks we haven't really, those greens like heat. And right now we haven't had the heat. So it's going to take them a little while to come back. So hopefully by the middle of May, another couple weeks, get some warm weather. But that's where we're at.
Charlie, just a couple quick questions. On the Vernon Street side, where we talked about the other day about the tree overhanging the netting, would it just a backup for everybody, a little history? One of the town councilors had called me and said that they had been approached about, the trees, the netting in disrepair and such. But the councilor met with the residents who said they had talked to you, Charlie. So they, it was brought up, and that you were taking care of it. So I'm not really sure why it went to the town councilor, but that's a whole different thing. But I talked to the counselor afterwards just to see, how they made out. And their suggestion is, and I'm not sure, I'm trying to picture the actual holes and I can't, but their suggestion is to remove the netting completely. Would that be a good safety thing?
No.
I didn't think so either.
Well, we're at the stage, in the past, it was a necessity because we planted all those trees along that 6th hole.
Mhm.
And the netting had an effect of any line drive balls. Those are the most dangerous.
Mhm.
Any of us can hit the ball high in the air and can go over that net, but they do a lot less damage than the low line drives. So as the trees have gotten older and larger, there's a couple of them that are infringing upon that net. And we've, over the 23 years now,
Yeah.
24, we've changed that net probably 3 times. So, you get 7 to 8 years, depending on the weather in the winter, out of it. The net's about $2,000. The lift's about another $1,000 to rent. And then we got to get up there. So it is in disrepair. It's going to come down. We had other priorities. I wanted to get the cot pavement done. Otherwise, I would have done it on the day we were closed. So I have a meeting tomorrow with the finance director, and I'm going to suggest that we find some money in the budget somewhere that we can use to fix those nets.
The-
But I think at this time, we got to make a decision whether we take it down or just replace it.
Mhm.
And if we replace it, we got to do some trimming up there too. And it's at the stage now where, you could look at it and say, if we take it down and somebody gets hurt and they said, they could say, well, you had it up all these years. Why'd you take it down? So I wanted to have a discussion with him about that. And I'm leaning on the side of putting it back up, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
In the lower portion, we left about 5 feet off the ground because there is a fence there behind those trees. And so the last time, Jimmy, I think what we did, if you remember, I think we got a 30 by 30 net and a 25 by 30. And we went up and put half of it down and then put the other one down. But we didn't get 30 because it's almost 65 feet high. So
Yeah, the top has sliders on it now. That's what we did last time. So
Yeah.
if you put it on one side, you can pull it over to the other side.
yeah,
I remember
it's
doing that
totally
with-
tatted now though.
Yeah, it was me, Dan Mahoney, and you.
Yeah,
So,
my thought is just for safety's sake to put the net up. Back up, because as you said, what if somebody gets hurt and you can't say, well, the neighbors said they don't want the net there. Because
I
it's-
fought for a ton of hours. I had all kinds of reports and studies and everything. The net's 65 feet high. It's placed so that if they put the tees in the right place, it'd be really hard to get over with a line drive, like Charlie says. You can get over anything if you pop it up, but if you put a fence along there, like the trees are, if you hit the ball, and it goes up at 45-degree angle, it's 25 feet high when it's 25 feet away from the tee. So it doesn't take much to clear the trees. You can ask Charlie how many balls ended up hitting the house on one.
Mhm.
It gets over the
Yep.
fence. It gets over the trees and the fence is pretty easy.
Yep.
But I've been on the 18th hole when the person has hit the house on the other side of the street.
It's probably
They went up-
Charlie that hit the house.
Well, I'm just saying, so you can't stop everything. And,
Yeah.
luckily recreation law says you're not responsible for
Mhm.
hitting the house and everything. But we actually, I think we blinded a dog, didn't we, Charlie? And then the guy had triplets.
Lan-
We
Paul
ended up just,
Limrose dog. Yeah.
Yeah,
but I'm saying he had 3 kids that we worried about. So we wanted to make sure, I mean, if it was the kid that got hit, it would have been serious problems.
right.
So I
Yeah,
wouldn't change it.
right. I wouldn't either. The council that I had contacted me had said he had a meeting with the town manager this week, and he was going to suggest for safety reasons that the town try to find the money for it. I requested that anything, like any talks about the golf course and the spending money and what it's gonna cost to definitely have you involved, Charlie. Like, for them not to make decisions and then go back to you and say, oh, this is what we decided. I think your input is more than 100% needed for it.
Unless they want to come to me ahead of time and say, here's $3,000, go do it. That's fine.
Yep, that's true. And
See if that
I
happens.
passed on the figures that you had given me too. My other question about the golf course, you mentioned about having a hard time to get employees. Is it affecting the golf course at all? All these people you read about? And I actually heard that for different town departments too, that they're having a hard time with, and actually one of them was the golf course that was mentioned, that people don't want to come off of unemployment because they're making more on unemployment than they would make working for the departments.
I mean, that's a fact in every line, everyone I talk to. Everybody's having that same problem, you know,
Mhm.
so right now we're okay. We're getting our employees in the mix, the part-time seasonal employees. So we're doing okay right now, but everyone I talk to had the same thing. Other golf courses too. You know, they just can't get people. And that's a lot of the reason. So we'll see what happens in the future, but
It's everywhere. It's absolutely everywhere. It's crazy.
Mhm. Yeah, good, thank you.
Hey, Charlie, for that new fencing or whatever you want to call it, net,
Yeah.
$3,000, that's worth it. For $3,000, just get it up there.
see, all the times we've
agree with
always
you.
done it, Tom, is because we got estimates of 10 grand for a company to come in and do it.
Oh, that's good.
And that was the cheapest. So that's why Jimmy and Danny, myself, Ray Wilcox did it one year. That's why we do it. We rent a lift, for $700 to $1,000, and then we buy the netting and we go and put it up. It is worth it,
Yeah.
but it's getting a commitment from guys. I only
Well,
went up halfway. Jimmy could go all the way up, but I didn't like being up over 35 feet. So
You don't climb trees?
Yeah. The scariest part's driving
That's
the lift off, was it Flaherty's truck?
it's probably Dyer's.
Dyer's truck? The
Yeah.
tires were wider than the truck was, and you only had about 3 inches, and we're doing it on Bergen Street with cars go by.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah, and
Wow.
you're at the end of a 35-foot lift, sitting in a little bucket.
Wow.
Mhm. Okay,
Yeah.
moving on, Michael.
I don't have the agenda in front of me.
You will.
Brooke should tell you what the next thing is,
Yeah,
right, Brooke?
Yeah,
Yep.
budget update.
There
Can
you go.
can anybody see the agenda that I posted right
Yeah,
now?
Yep.
can you make the
I can
font a
see it.
little bigger?
I can see it.
Just,
Jay?
I can see it now.
Okay,
Yeah.
budget update.
You want me to read it to you, Mike?
No. Thank you.
Just trying to help.
there's not really any change there. As far as I know, they haven't approved the total budget yet. It's still in process, so.
Right.
There's really no change on that.
Okay.
Charlie,
Do you request any more budget in the budget for next year, Charlie?
Well,
Or do they tell you what?
well, we've had discussions about different things within, and they don't know what they want to do yet. There's gonna be a change and there's gonna be, they don't know about the park stewards. They don't, they've got that out advertised from what I understand. They have $17,000 in our budget for that. But they know that we're gonna need other people if they do that, if they put the parks and everything under our auspices. I just, they know what's coming. It's just when they go about and decide to fund it. So there's nothing, I still have capital stuff and I'm waiting for it to be approved. I'm supposed to get a new mower, all these kind of things. So it's there, it's in limbo right now, waiting for the approval. So
Mhm.
it's where it is right now.
but the town has money, is that right?
It's what I've heard, but Tom,
Yeah.
we're always pulling the totem pole.
Yep, oh, I agree.
The marijuana passing should bring in some money.
Well, it passed for a non-binding, but it's up to the council. If they
Right.
want to put it as a binding question or what.
Yep.
So it's not a done deal yet. We can't count our chickens before they hatch.
That's why I should, if
Yeah.
they're smart enough.
Yep. Okay, oh, on the budget too, I'm not sure if we hit on this the last time. The leftover funds from all the fencing at Legion Field, the CPA funds. Thanks to Charlie and his well spending and quotes and all that. We had what, $885 left over, Charlie?
Right.
Something like that. That was turned back to CPC. So it went back into I think it was the undesignated account, but basically open space and recreation.
Yep,
So that was good.
yep.
Okay, Mike, next.
Is there any discussion further on the budget?
I make a motion, we get more money.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
great.
it would be interesting because for the last couple of years, everything I hear, and I've been listening to a lot of Zoom meetings, like not going anywhere, so I just listen to town Zoom meetings. But everybody in their conversations, Park and Rec doesn't have enough money. Park and Rec needs more money, so
Do we have any money?
no.
No. They're gonna be in for a rude awakening when Charlie retires because of the fact that when something breaks or something needs done, Charlie jumps on it and he gets a lot of things done by friends
Yep.
having favors done because he's the first one to help one of his friends when they need something done. And the
Mhm.
town benefits from this tremendously. And that's gonna probably disappear once Charlie retires.
Yep.
Well,
I agree, Mike.
Well, I was gonna bring this up a little later and wherever in the meeting, but for instance, we had a major leak down at girls softball in the irrigation main line coming from the well into the building. So I had a couple different people. Ray Wilcox came down and we saw cut and broke up about a 3x3 area of the concrete. Got
That's
it
Ray
out of there.
Wilcox, that's Ray Wilcox, the father.
Yes. And then Michael came down with his APC truck and sucked it down about 6 feet all the way around so we could get at the pipes. We ended up fixing it, bringing it back out of the ground. Donnie Sweetman came down and hooked it up and I turned it on today and everything was working fine. So all that is free. And, I don't even know if those guys from, well, no, one person does know, but all these different groups, they don't realize what goes on. And I mentioned that to the town manager. I had a meeting with him last week and I explained to him that, a lot of these people over the years have helped out and do things when really, and maybe it's my fault for not bringing it up to certain people, but again, the change in the way the government works now, we don't really get a chance to get up there and talk about things. So they really don't know, and they rely on it. And I suppose it's our fault, but for not pushing for more money. But the way I looked at it, we've always done our part, and we charge $35 a head for the kids to play Little League and girls softball and football. So, we were all against that, to be quite honest with you. But we just do what we got to do to get things working, and it's frustrating when you don't get the money and everyone says, yeah, you need more money, but that'll come in time and they'll get somebody else and then you'll get money. So, in the meantime, I'm lucky I got friends that want to help out and do whatever they can to help out. And they don't realize what it would cost. You try digging a hole 6 feet deep with tough, hard gravel. It's almost physically impossible in a situation like that. So Mike, and the cost of bringing his truck down, and we can all say, yeah, he's doing it to help us out. But, a lot of guys don't do that, but I really appreciate that because we wouldn't have been able to fix that. We would have had to I don't know what we would have done, but to be quite honest with you, it would have been a big mess.
Hey, Charlie, what happened? Frost lifted up a rock?
No, well, it was right below the building. So it could have settled over time. It's been 12 years, Tommy, believe it or
No
not.
way.
Wow.
2008, 2009.
12 years.
Yeah, we put that field in, and then I went right to build the clubhouse. And we opened that up in 2012. So it was 2 years down there building that field. And it came up through the concrete. So who knows what settled under there, but it took a long time. So it was just in the wrong spot. And it was actually on a coupling, not going sideways, but going straight up at the elbow where it bends up. And it could have settled, could have moved a little. And it was a pretty good sized crack. So, I mean, water was bubbling out of there. So we knew we were in trouble. But luckily, we haven't needed the irrigation yet because it really haven't had the warm weather. So it's all set. And now I just got it backfill 2 or 3 feet and pour a little concrete over it. And hopefully we'll be good for a while.
Hey, Mike, Mr. Chairman, nice job sending the truck down. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's easy to do because I've had a couple of problems with my sprinkler system at my house, and Charlie's come up at a moment's notice and helped me. So, and there's a lot of people around that help Charlie out because of that fact. And I think that whole philosophy is going to be missed when he retires.
Yeah, you'll get somebody.
Like
else.
Jimmy Campbell going up and putting the nets up. I'm sure you didn't get paid for that, Jimmy. You just did it and you helped out. I think that those nets, as I remember, I think I picked them up for you, Charlie, in East Boston at the fish
Yes,
place.
that's correct.
Yeah.
Well, in the clubhouse he's talking about, I remember putting the second deck on. It was pouring rain. And there was like 7 or 8 people up there in the pouring rain, putting the deck on and putting the walls up and everything, trying to get it done.
That was amazing.
And
Yeah, and on the same thing, not to belabor it, but Jimmy didn't get paid either or nobody did. We saved the town money moving that trailer for
that was funny. Dave
from the
Cox,
Plymouth Home Bank.
Yeah.
that was Charlie. Once again, Charlie's brother-in-law got the trailer for us. And I don't know if everyone knew that Dave Cox went with me. We're going through East Bridgewater, Stenger, it snaps in half. And Dave Cox said, "What are we gonna do?" I said, "Open the window and start selling hot dogs." I don't know. So we had to get the biggest tow truck in Massachusetts to lift it off the ground because it was snapped in half. And we just
Yeah.
barely got it there. And
Mhm.
Angelo was supposed to do the block because it was kind of messed up. Someone else had to come. We had to put it up on the blocks. It snapped in
Mhm.
half because the safe had fallen through the floor before they gave it to us. We didn't know it.
Right,
A lot of
if the
interesting
town,
things.
yeah, if the town had to pay for a lot of what Charlie gets the help and the donations with.
Yeah.
There would be quite a bit more they'd be funding us.
Well-
Or they wouldn't be happening.
And let's go back to the snowball tournaments where we all froze our ass off to get some money to build the basketball courts.
Mhm.
Right, we worked all weekend in the freeze cold, and like Charlie will remind you, we enjoyed it.
Yep, we did.
We only got $400 and maybe like that, but we really had a good time doing it. So it wasn't as bad as you like to
Mhm.
make.
Yep,
When
I
you look
enjoyed
back
it.
and we did all that for $400, it's kind of comical, but in the end, we ended up getting the basketball court. So
Mhm. Yep,
it's an end of an era.
I enjoyed it. I don't know if I'd want to go back out for snowball tournaments, but I enjoyed it.
Well, that's because
What
when
about
you're in
the
recreation, most of the people you meet are nice people. They're helping kids. So you
Mhm.
meet the best of the people.
Yep,
And so it makes it nice.
yep. Before we move on to the next thing about field use, I'd like to motion to take out of order. I was going to bring it up under new business too, but I see we have Pat Neary here and she has a concern. I was going to bring it up. She was going to speak during public comments. So Pat, you're more than welcome to stay at our meeting for the whole thing, but if my motion is just to move it up, to hear what I was going to say for new business, and then Pat can make her comments under public comments. So she's
So
not
Gina, you
holding.
want to move public comments to now, correct? That's your motion?
Well, I want to move one. I want to be able to speak for new business on this first. Now, if she talks public comments, can we reply to it? I think we can, right?
Sure.
Okay,
Um,
yeah, so to move public comments up, and we can hear Pat's concern, but we need a second for it.
I second it.
All in
Okay,
favor? Oh,
oh, right, roll call vote. Mr. Origi,
Yes,
okay, Mr. Buron,
Yes.
Mr. Campbell,
Yes.
Mr. Flaherty.
yes,
Now who do, oh, Miss Wasconi.
Me, yes,
Okay. 1, 2, 3, got it.
okay, Pat,
So done.
okay, great, thanks, Brooke.
Well, thank you. I'm actually just inquiring because I've been trying to find out how we could improve the parking lot at Carver's Pond. It's very dangerous. It's holes and roots. And I spoke with Gina just because I thought maybe CPC could finance something. And that's not the case. They cannot finance that because it hasn't been one of their undertakings. I called Kitty Doherty to see if she could guide me. And she said, oh, well, we haven't hired a park steward yet, so we can't take care of that yet. So then I spoke with the highway department, and it's just a challenge to try to get something done, and because it is a safety feature. I go there, I'm an old lady. I have to be careful getting out of my car or even parking the car. And I'm pretty adept at driving. But it's just tough down there. As I said, there's holes and roots. And I mean, I'd love to get that section paved, but I know we don't have money. Maybe you can suggest something. And it was suggested via Carlton saying that, well, maybe Parks and Recs can help a little or guide you. Isn't that right, Gina?
Right, Carlton had suggested that my suggestion to Pat had been to talk to the town manager, possibly they could do something with the highway department. It is a busy time, which is always a busy time for the highway department, and like us and all other departments are grossly understaffed. But possibly the highway department could go down and just fill the holes and level it off or something.
Pat, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Is it, you're talking about where you park right in the front there?
That's right. It's a very
You're
small.
not talking about
actually,
the
it's
trail going in?
Not at all. It's just parking.
All right,
Uh,
I'll take care of it. I'll work with Paul down the highway and, we'll get some material in there. I'll go down tomorrow and take a peek at, I gotta get a shot tomorrow morning. And then I got a Zoom meeting, but in the afternoon, I'll shoot down there and look at it and see what best material I can get in there. And if I gotta take my Kubota down there, I'll go down and do it someday, so.
Well, that would be great. And I did speak with Paul and he said, well, maybe we can try to smooth it out. So
Yeah.
I don't really know what will happen, but
Yeah.
anything that you folks can do and ultimately maybe find a way to get it paved because it's not a very big area.
No, it's not. It's all about mobilization with paving companies, as I found out between the golf cart pass and the pickleball courts. So, and they will be in town doing other things, but to
Uh-huh.
do a small area like that and to move a machine to pave it, it may
Yeah,
be
3
down the line,
machines.
the high,
Mhm.
you
It
know,
may
we can
what?
get something going on, but
Okay.
I'll take a look at it tomorrow and I'll talk to Paul and we'll get something done.
Oh, that sounds promising. Thank you. And thank you, Gina, for
You're-
letting me speak. I might not have hung in there until the end.
You're welcome to stay. We still have some good stuff to discuss.
Yeah, I'd like to hear more. And thanks again.
Okay,
All right, thank
Thank
you.
you. thanks. Thank you, Charlie.
Yep.
Okay.
Is there any new business that we'd like to discuss?
Well,
Actually, you need to kind of go back
Okay.
to the use of facilities, the clarification between the park
Town
and
dealing.
rec field use and then the town code. They're technically addressing two separate things. I sent you the town code. But that was an issue last meeting that you were going to take up at this meeting.
Okay, I missed last meeting.
right, they were conflicting, right?
Yeah. One says you go to the police and there's never a mention of going to park and rec.
Well, that's a
under
little
the town
different.
code.
Brooke, I read that and I think they're talking about different things.
I do too. And
It's not talking about field use permit. They were talking about something different. If you looked at that, you sent the email out, correct?
Yes.
Yep.
About that?
I'm reopening it now too, to look at it.
Yeah, so I mean, in my opinion, it's based on, you know, that was more or less up near the center of town type thing, wasn't it?
It was, but once they got involved, they were looking for clarification on the town code. And
Yep.
so the commission said they would discuss it at this meeting, at tonight's meeting.
Yeah.
I don't know who puts the town code together. Who puts it, to anybody? I don't know.
The town code is put together by the town. That doesn't make
Mike
sense.
Dutton?
Right, I would
Well, the
say it would be a
town charter,
committee
wasn't it?
to him.
Are you
I think
talking
part
about
of
what's
their-
in the town charter?
It's the code, Charlie, is a separate document than the charter. Which I only found that out when I was looking up the code for Parks and Rec, that it's a
Okay.
whole separate document.
Well, let me just say one thing. We're talking about something that'll probably never happen again. And it sounds like we're gonna spend an awful lot of time on it. When I really don't think it applies to us. I think if you guys have concerns about permits and stuff, we should just talk about Legion Field. And we should talk about the way we do it now and maybe in the future, the way you do it. But this other stuff that happened one day, I don't think we have any control over that. If it was to happen again, I think they've learned some lessons, and I think if they go to the town manager and you get all these different groups in, I don't think it would happen anytime football was playing or baseball was going on. I just think it was something that just developed. I mean, that's only my personal opinion. I understand that it could happen again, but I don't know if that's within our jurisdiction or whether you could have anything to do with it. Maybe I'm wrong, but until you sit down with the town manager and find out what's going on, I mean, you can talk about this stuff, and I don't know if we have any control over it. That's my
Right, and I
opinion.
think part of the question too was that our field use application conflicted with what the town says for using facilities, even including Legion Field. But I think you're right. If it's in conflict, we need to talk to the town manager to see why we're in conflict, because we've had the same policy for a
Yeah,
1,000 years.
and 99% of the time, everything works out fine. And it's just this one thing. And I understand people have concerns about it, but I don't think you got to change everything just for this one thing. But yeah, do you need to meet with them and find out about how you want to handle things in the future? Absolutely. But I think our permit process works for 99% of the time. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Tom, how you feel about that? I know you were a little upset that things weren't, done what you thought should have been.
No, yeah, I agree with you. I agree, but I agree that I think it's not going to happen again, especially when we have this situation with Little League football, so much stuff going there. It still wouldn't be, I think it would still do well by us if we put up some type of that we have the final approval or something. And again, I don't know if we have that ability to. I think you were saying earlier, when the police take over, the police or fire, I think they have the final say, but just something in there, the safety of others, because it is a recreational facility.
Yep.
I kind of took it more that like under the parades and public gatherings, there's no mention of rec at all. So if you wanted to go use Legion Field, you wouldn't know there's a separate use of facilities use form. And I think they were just trying to clarify how you go about getting the different spaces in town.
Well, what happens on Veterans Day when they have the parade and they use the gazebo? Do they get a special permit for that, or do the police say that they can use that or not? Who has the final ruling on that for Veterans Day parade?
Oh, they just come down and they tell me, this is a year. I think it goes every 3 years.
Every
It
3 years.
alternates
Yeah.
between West Bridgewater, East Bridgewater, and us. So they come down and tell me, yep, we're going to have it here at this time. And, that's the way it goes. There's no permit.
So Charlie, when they tell you for Veterans Day and if there was some other gathering already using the field, you asked them to move. But in this particular case, did they tell you ahead of time that they were doing this, or did they just decide? What if there was a youth football game or there was a baseball tournament going on? Who would have had to,
We would have. It probably wouldn't have happened.
But
it came down 3 days before, and the police came down and talked to me.
Okay.
And they said, we have a problem here because it's going to be up the Common. There's 3 fractions that are so-called protesting.
Right.
And so we want to bring this one down to Legion Field. And there was nothing going on. It was before Little League even started. It was in March.
So there was communication. I guess some people, the perception was there was no communication. They just did this.
Well, there wasn't any communication between me and you guys. There was between the police and me.
You're the director of recreation, so there was nobody using the field. So it was a public safety and issue.
Correct.
It was a.
Well, that's
right
what I
thing to
was
do, because
told.
They all met at the common, it would have been gridlock in the center of town, right? So.
Yeah, and but in fairness to you guys, I probably should have sent all you guys an email saying this is what's happening, and I didn't. So that should be corrected, and that should, be something that happens all the time.
And when you send something like that in the future, will we have any discussion or any input into whether or not we approve that use of the field?
Well,
not-
that's something that I think is part of the discussion you have with the town manager.
Okay,
Right. and
If you
Mike,
want that to be, if you want that to happen, then that's something that you should discuss as a group with the town manager and say,
Yeah, I
in the
know.
future,
In all
you know.
honesty, tonight's the night to discuss this, but I think public safety is gonna supersede anything
correct.
I think.
Yeah.
I think I agree with you. I think I agree.
Well, It, like the 4th of July festival, the fire department is really responsible for that.
Yeah.
And they have the final say whether it goes on or not, right?
as far as the fireworks are concerned, yes.
And the public safety, yeah.
But all it is I think if I had sent an email out to you guys, I don't think you were looking to have a say in it, but you would have liked to have known about it ahead of time.
That's it.
And I
Right.
agree with that. That's my fault for not doing that. So, but when the police chief and the different police come and talk to you about it and talk to me about public safety and we have to move it here, I just say I went along with them. I agreed with them. And there was nothing at all going on at Legion. So that's why I really, but I should have thought about that and sent you guys a memo. That's all.
Mhm. And
But I think you still would want to have that discussion with the town manager if you want to be included as the commission per se, I think you should have that discussion with them.
But as
Right,
Dan
when-
says, public safety is gonna be the key anyhow.
right, one of you guys just asked if we would, and Mike, I think it was you, I'm not sure, about if Charlie sent out just a quick email or even a text to say this is what's happening. Had asked, Mike, I think it was you, had asked if we could discuss it or whatever. We couldn't, if you discuss even on emails, I know, because
Breaking the law.
I got told you couldn't do it. It goes against, it violates the open meeting law.
Right.
So if something is sent out, we can't discuss it. He could send us out notification, but we can't discuss it on the email because it violates the open meeting law.
Yeah, that's correct.
Honestly, I don't think there's anything to discuss. I think probably what Charlie hit it on the head. Just an email notifying us, hey, just giving you guys a heads up in case someone, no one mentioned it to me, but I mean, maybe someone, townsperson asks us what the heck's going on. At least we're made aware of it. Again,
Right.
we can discuss and stop an issue that's public safety, but we just,
Granted.
maybe would have been nice to, know about it. It's, I think, moving forward.
Mhm. Yep,
But the overall permit that we use for fields, individual fields and different things like that, I think works for the most part. There's not a lot of groups, but there are occasional groups, families that want to have use Scotland Field, which I don't charge for. I don't like to give permits out on the weekends, except for men's softball. They have a couple of tournaments a year that I do, but for the most part, I tell a family, hey, go up there at 1 o'clock on a Sunday, as long as you pick up your trash, there's no alcohol allowed. And it's happened probably once a year, once or twice a year that people do that. And it gives them, they're away from the Little League fields, they're up at a separate location. So if there's nothing going on up there and, it's a wiffle ball game or a kickball or family, 20, 30 people, that's fine. And they can do that down at Legion, but Legion is busy every day on the weekends.
Hey, Charlie, just to be talking about that, can we send some of the coaches? I think it was about a week and a half ago. There was cars parked up, for Little League. They're driving on the parking, on the fields now. When did that start taking place? I know football always does it, but I never saw
Well-
Little League before. This is crazy.
Yeah, and I happen to agree with you, and I will speak to Little League, but I didn't see that particular day, but I did notice one Saturday morning. He was parked up by the old skate park. and they have the smaller kids up there. So I didn't know what that was all about, and I will talk to that guy, Little League, about that. No vehicles should be up there for Little League. You know,
No way.
football, we cut that down, and that was good. You know, even though they had minor because of COVID, but there was still some activity with football, but that's cut back. So what they do is they will take a few pickup trucks and they'll take their equipment out of the big red building and they'll bring it to the fields, but they don't park up there. So that was the agreement with Timmy Nixon at the time. So that was okay. But Little League, there's no reason for any vehicles. There are a couple sometimes that go up to the Stearns building, you know, because they're working on either supplies or they got shirts and stuff in there and hats and stuff. But for the most part, it's pretty good. But a lot of times I'm there in the morning on a Saturday or Sunday, but I'm not there during the day when there's a few hundred people there, you know?
You know, it was my first time I've ever seen Little League have cars driving around, and you know, you talk about a hazard. Somebody gets
Well, how long ago was that, Tom? Because they did have a cleanup.
about
there
10
where they
days
helped
ago.
out.
About 10 days ago, but the fields were being used.
Okay.
People walking around, and it was like, what is that car driving around on the fields?
Yeah. I'll speak to them.
Okay.
Pickleball? Pickleball is next.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
well, pickleball, we have, I don't know if we did this at the last meeting, but it has been paved. And I'm also glad to say that we had three bids on the painting of the courts, and that came in and got approved uptown. So that will happen probably, let me see, I think we paved it on the 20th, the 21st, something like that. And that will be painted sometime, probably the end of May. And I'm working on the fence bids right now. It's very difficult to get bids because of the fact that people are so swamped. So it's going to be a challenge to get three bids. I'm waiting on two of them. I have one. But people are telling me this one guy, the biggest company around, Cape and Island Tennis and Track, they told me, he gave me a price for the painting of the courts, but he says, I'm 2 years out, literally 2 years out. And I said, well, good for job security. He goes, well, I'm the boss. So it doesn't matter to me, but we're 2 years out. But he gave me a price based on the square yardage. So, but the fencing companies are different. They're having trouble getting supplies. Prices have gone up 25%. It's going to be interesting, but hopefully next few days I can iron that out. Those people will respond and I can go forward with that. Because most of the fence companies are good 12 weeks out, you know? So I'm trying to jump on this as fast as I can. If people come back to me and say, look, we're jammed, we won't be able to get there for a year, then I'll tell the town manager and we'll go with the bid we have. So we'll see what happens.
One good thing I noticed, I went up after they paved it, and it had rained heavily the night before, and there were no puddles on the asphalt. So that means that the people put the asphalt down did a great job with limiting the amount of areas where there would be puddles. So
Yeah, I was very happy with what they did.
the runoff was great. The rain must have hit the pavement and ran off real good.
I was real happy with that company. So
Mhm.
hopefully we can get everything in next couple of months and be playing pickleball.
That's progress.
Well, Danny's retiring, so now instead of a stipend for a tennis coach, you can get one as being the coordinator for pickleball.
I think he'll do a great job. He's done a great job in tennis.
Sally, I know it was a short story, but you read my mind.
Oh, goodness.
Is there what's next, Brooke? Is it,
New business, if
New
everybody's
business?
done. The secretarial position, getting that in the budget.
Can I say something about pickleball?
sure,
Sure. Sorry.
I just want to let everyone know Edgewood opened up last week.
The swim club? I'm sorry,
The
Edgewood.
swimming, the swim place, yeah.
Okay, okay.
They
it.
changed, they have 6 courts were going today and it was packed. They did it to make money. Easton's building 6 new courts plus the ones they have. I think they have about 12 already. We know Abington built them, Carver's building new courts, so.
How much money do they make off it, Jimmy? They rent it by the hour, the court, or how?
They actually went real cheap. You can play Edgewood from now till the end of the year for $100. Comes down to less than $5 a week.
We're not charging for using ours, right? They're just
Oh,
open court.
We don't, I stayed quiet during the last discussion about the fields and all that stuff, but you'd have to ask Mr. Duck about that. You'd also have to ask him about the fields. You know,
Mhm.
we're not in charge of any of that, right?
Right.
So I
What
mean,
it-
we can discuss all we want, but when
Charge a bit
people
of
ask
what?
me, are we
Jimmy?
gonna charge for pickleball? I tell them I haven't the faintest idea.
Well,
Mhm.
you could do a family pass or whatever. You
We could
certainly
suggest
can.
it.
You don't have to get town manager's approval for that.
But
It's a
he told
recreation program.
us he's the one that sets the rates on recreation land, right? Be it the golf course or be it whatever. I don't want to get a discussion about that. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well,
The
that's
Yeah.
fact of
something
the
that
matter
you
is,
in that
we
meeting,
don't
you
really
should
have the
a
final
discussion.
say on these things. So I don't.
I think, Jimmy, it was, if I remember right, I might be wrong, but I think it was the previous town manager who had said they do everything, that we don't do it.
I'm positive who it was, and it wasn't the previous one.
Oh,
Well,
okay,
I think that's could be
Okay.
part of your discussion with the
Yeah.
town.
right. I just have a quick question, a suggestion, and I said this kiddingly to Charlie one day, that for people like me that are pickleball ignorant for rules and stuff, will there be lessons or like say 2 or 3 days just to say, if you want to learn about pickleball, come down and
Yeah,
Do
Joe
it.
Bitter sent a flyer out through the senior center that he'd be happy to show people how to play. But yeah,
Okay.
that'd be basically it'd be a good idea probably to do it before it opens. But most places go like the players play from 8 to 10:30 or something, and then at 10:30, anyone that wants to learn how to play the game, come down and they'll show you. Tony Ascenzi has a job at Pickles, a place in Hanover, and he teaches how to play pickleball. And
So
know-
Jimmy, when you say like from 8 to 10:30, is there a sign up that like if you and I wanted to play, or is it just?
no, what it is, the way pickleball goes is it's a real social thing. What it should work out is everyone shows up and there's a board there, and each board has a block, has it split into blocks, and each block would be a court. And the
Oh.
first 4 people would put their name in block 1, block 2. So in our case, there'd be 6 blocks that could be filled. And those 4 people go out and play. And when they come off the court, they put their name up again. And some places play that the winners play once you win, you go over the winner side, the losers go over the other. So
You just rotate, kind of like the old days in basketball. if there's
Right.
3 teams,
yeah,
you
but
Yeah,
the
it
thing is, if the block ain't filled, say there's 3 older people that want to play, and there's some young people that want to play with them. If they don't sign up in that block and they sign up in the next one, they don't go out till that block goes out. So most people, you go down, even though you know it ain't gonna be a real exciting game if you play. You go down and you play a couple games with people that don't play much, and you teach them a little bit while you play, and then the rest of the games you play competitively. I mean, no one wants to stay there in 6 games, just be teaching people that haven't been able to play, but that's how it usually happens. But
right,
like at the Y, after it's over with, you tell people to come at 11 and you tell them how to play. It's it's an interesting game, because people 70 years old would give people 30 years old that never played before a good run for their money. They actually
no,
could
they
beat them.
give me a run for my money.
Well, and the other good thing about whether or not you want to, when I'm done playing down at Lakeville, and not that I'm running crazy or anything, when I look at my watch, it says I've done 6,856 steps. Or something like that, 3.48 miles or something. So if you're player, you get pretty active. It's a good exercise, right, Tom?
It is. They down in Sandwich, they do the courts. They you reserve the courts. It isn't like any other place. Other places like Lakeville, you put your
Line up.
name and everyone rotates. In Sandwich, you take a block for an hour. It's a little different than I've seen.
Yeah.
You pay a fee?
You have to be a Sandwich resident.
So you gotta be a Sandwich
But no
resident.
one's checking. No one's checking because I don't have a thing shows I'm a Sandwich resident. But they have
Abington,
very nice courts too. Everywhere's got them. Down the Cape, it's loaded with courts.
Yeah. Abington charges $100 if you're from out of town. If you don't have a thing, if you're not a member, you can't play. So, I mean, there's all different ways of doing it. It's nice
I think it's a
if
bad
it's a
idea.
social game. You don't want to get up at 8 in the morning, go down to play at 9 and find out that, someone reserved the courts. The courts are
Yeah.
open all day, so I think it's a good idea to have Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 8 to 11, we'll say, free time. Anyone who signs up can come and play. If they want to charge people, I'm staying out of all that. But that's usually the way. And then you go like Wednesday nights would be for someone that's really good, 4.0s or better to come down to play. Because everyone says, oh, they don't want to play with us, but it works the other way around. I don't think a person, a woman or a guy 75 years old wants to play with someone slamming the ball at him at 150 miles an hour from 14 feet away either. So, you gotta be somewhat compatible to play. It isn't like golf where you get a handicap.
Mhm.
You go out and it's no fun for anyone, because if the person can't play very well, then the other team hits it to that person. And even though you may be pretty good, you're standing there the whole game watching the ball go to your partner and the partner missing it. So it kind of levels itself out.
I would
People
think that
find
we
out.
get-
I mean,
if we
no
can
one's
get through this-
embarrassed. Everyone helps you. No one embarrasses or anything like that. But people finally say, I would rather play with this person, and they end up signing up, and that's where
Yeah.
I've really never
would-
seen any problems.
Yeah, I would think we just get through this year and see how it goes, and then over the winter or whatever, you can make decisions on how you want to go forward.
Mhm.
Yeah,
know-
I know
like
down-
say,
I know down in Naples, it's at a certain time, a 4-hour block. It's all older people and people that want to meet other new people that they never met
Yep.
before, and they play, and it's really social.
you talking
and-
Veterans Park?
Yeah, it's really nice
Yeah,
the way they have it
They
down
have
there.
two sides of the street too. They're real good people. If you
Right.
want to go competitive, you cross the street.
Right,
You
right.
know, and like I say, if you play winners, then the two of the winners lose, and they have having to go play losers, which don't make them bad players, but it kind of works out because everyone plays with everyone a little.
Right. It's very
You don't
social.
you don't want 8 people go down and tie up, or 12 people tie up 3 courts and play with themselves all the time, and the other 3 courts people are left to whatever. But like I said, that's the sign up usually works.
Mhm.
It works for everybody. Because if you don't want to play, if you've already played 2 games with beginners and you want to play a competitive game, you can sit one out and put your name in the 3rd block over, whatever.
Yeah.
So
Well,
But-
That's good.
a lot of people are interested. I see a lot of more over in Edgewood now. If you want to go over to Edgewood and try it out, you should go take a look. Or if you want instructions before that, if anyone wants, I'm sure Tommy will. No, anyone. If you want to learn the
When
rules
do
of
they
the game, we'll
start,
have to do that. We'll have to do that down the senior center or something. Just explain them how it is. But primetime pickleball on YouTube is a good place to learn how to get better at it if you want.
Mhm. Good.
And
I'll
Last
have to
thing.
learn.
I've never seen anyone go down that didn't. Tom wasn't hyper on the idea. Tony wasn't hyper on the idea of playing. I'm gonna try this stupid pickleball. And when they go down after they try it for a while, they find out it's great exercise, a lot of fun. It's very competitive. You know, you can compete no matter who you are.
Jimmy, the Y, 7:00, we start,
Yeah,
7 to 9. For me.
I had an eye operation a couple days ago. They cut out part of my eye and put a piece in.
Oh,
So
really?
it's gonna be a little while before I'll be able to go out and play. Yeah, they just took a little, wasn't cancer, right? They took a little growth off my eye so I can have cataract surgery. But it's like a 5-week deal of, because they just put the patch in and then they put glue around the edges of it. And it has to like bind itself eventually. So,
That's amazing.
yeah, it is.
Is there any other new business?
Getting the secretarial position back in the budget.
I think that's a good thing.
I think she's
But-
overpaid now.
Thank
Um,
you.
I think you're worth all the money in the world.
She is.
I
Give her a raise.
personally think that it should be put back in the budget. If it were just a committee, like Parks and Rec Committee, yeah, we have an admin that does the minutes and sends them out. We're a regular department, Parks and Rec, that has an office, has their staff. It's not like, I don't know, CPC. We don't have an office. We have an admin who does our minutes. I think having a department like an office or like that needs a person, even a part-time person. Just my thought. And plus, I think the town should be paying. I don't think the position should be paid out of the enterprise fund, or however
It's a
it's paid now.
revolving, not an enterprise, revolving.
Revolving, I'm sorry, thank you, Charlie. That I don't think should be coming out of that. I think to staff or an office and a department, the town should be paying for it.
I agree. Let's put it in. Do we have to make a motion to put it in, Charlie?
Well, I think it's not gonna happen in 2022. I don't see that happening.
Okay, I'm thinking, should we just try?
No,
It's not,
I think you should have a meeting with the town manager.
All right, well, let's do it.
yeah, it's not too late for the budget. I actually just submitted a change for the CPC budget from what we had submitted back, or I don't know, when it had to be in by April 1st, so right around then.
Right, but isn't that a fact that whatever you put in that budget comes out of your money?
No, they should give us added money.
No, what I'm saying is your budget consists of the funds, whatever you have for the admin person gets taken out of that, just like the golf course. Correct? Am I wrong?
Right, it comes out of, we have an admin expenses line item,
Right.
and it comes out of that.
Right. It's just like water and sewer, which is an enterprise fund, the golf, the transfer station, they're enterprise funds. So whatever you have in your budget, if you have the money, you can put whatever you want. Here, we're the general fund. My budget is my salary, my longevity, this park steward, and the part-time help. That's all my budget is. Ray gets paid out of the revolving account. Okay,
Right.
so
But
And if
what I'm saying is the town should put funds in there for another position, for even a part-time admin.
well, they can, and I'm not debating that. I'm just saying, I don't know if it's too late to have a discussion to get it in the budget. If you're talking, whatever the dollar amount is, for someone part-time, I don't think you can just request it. I think you have to have them sit down and discuss with the applicable people, whether it's a finance director, whether it's a town manager, or whatever. So
Mhm.
I'm just getting that point across that it's already May, so, you just have to, I mean, they can always put it in at a meeting, or
Mhm.
some meeting, an order of conditions or whatever they call it, and put it in, but you'd have to have the discussion first to make
Right,
the
that's
request known.
Right, I had talked to Tony, the finance director for, about something else last week, and I asked if it was too late to change the CPC budget. Because our budget is based on estimated revenue from the state and from tax money, kind of the same as Park and Rec, kind of based on income into the general fund. But he explained the process to me. It's still, I was listening to the budget and finance meeting of the FinCom, before I jumped onto this one. They were talking about the budget, but I jumped off of that to come with you guys. But it's still being discussed, and then they have to have a public hearing. So anybody can suggest anything at the public hearings too.
Mhm.
For it.
Charlie, you mentioned twice about having a meeting with the town manager. Can we set one up?
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing like we did before when we had in person, maybe a Zoom meeting to talk about this permit thing and the code,
Yep,
about the
Mhm.
budget. See if
let's
we-
do it.
Yep.
Charlie, any suggestions how we would do it?
Well, I don't know if this Zoom is gonna go away, so it would be great if you could sit down as a group, but it has to be a posted meeting. So you would have to agree on a time for the town manager to be able to make it. And like we did before, preferably in the afternoon. And then you'd have to post that as a meeting, I would assume. And it can happen. I would just simply send them an email. Maybe Brooke can send an email stating, I think that's the best way, is send an email requesting, an hour meeting or an hour and a half meeting to discuss something. I know he's slammed all the time, but that's the only way you get forward. You got to send an email.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I'm quite sure he's going to want, well, it just depends. You got to outline what you want to talk to him about. I can see him. It's a crapshoot when I go in there, whether he's there or whether he's in a meeting, whether I can get him for 5 minutes. But I would send an email first, and then he'll probably contact me and say, what do they want? What do you want to do? Blah, blah, blah. So I would send that. I would direct it to him and try to get a time, and then we'll be flexible enough, and then we'll let everyone know if certain people can't make it, they can't make it.
Charlie, do you
Right.
see an end of these Zoom meetings coming up?
I don't
we-
right
if we-
now.
If we were able to meet someplace and stay 6 or 8 feet apart?
I don't know why we can't, but what I'm getting at is I don't see it happening in the near future. I just think this is going to go on for a few more months.
Wow.
Nothing has been said to us about no more Zoom meetings. So, but I do know that they've had 2 or 3 people meet sitting 6, 8 feet across in the daily workings at town hall. But to bring outside people in, that hasn't happened to my knowledge. I've had meetings with a department head like myself and town manager and maybe the finance director, or with the assistant town manager and the human resource person. I had a meeting, but as far as bringing in a commission, I haven't seen anything about that. So, I would just say simply send them an email, tell them there's several items that you'd like to discuss, and you'd like to have them book a time, and then if we get that time, then we can post it as a meeting, and whoever can be there can be there.
Like it.
That's all I
Let's do
can
that.
suggest.
Let's do
Mhm.
it.
And,
That's good.
and,
Enough said. Let's just do it.
yeah, Brooke, if you,
Brooke, you
if you
mind if you
specify,
did that?
That's
for us?
fine. Yep.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
just
great. Thank you.
you know, specify the things. I find that with CPC, if I write to them, if I'm really specific and say, we need to meet on this before such and such. So maybe say, we have questions pertaining to our budget. We'd like to have them addressed prior to the setting of the budget or something like that. You guys are good at wording.
Okay.
I would limit it to 1 hour. That way we stay on task and get it done.
Mhm.
If it goes over, it goes over, but
Fine.
I kind of like the Zoom meetings because if you watch Charlie, he gets up from his seat and he walks around his yard.
Yeah.
Except it's dark, so you just see shadows. We want to see it when it's light, Charlie.
Yeah, well, I gotta get up and move around,
there was reports coming across Facebook, Sasquatch in Middleborough walking around.
Yep. Okay, so that's good.
Program review.
Mike, you still with us, Mike?
Oh, excuse me, I just woke up.
Yeah.
Summer-
Go ahead, Brooke.
Summer program?
Like I say, I didn't get a copy of the agenda. So
Yeah. Charlie,
What?
summer program?
Yeah, well, I guess Nancy had texted me and I told her to send something to Brooke so that you could address it tonight. As far as I know, we're still planning on it. Nancy had a question about raising the fee, blah, blah, blah. So, Brooke, are you there?
You're muted, Brooke.
How can she mute it? She's the host.
No,
She
switched over to
disappeared for a
Danny.
minute and came back.
Something came up on mine and said Dan Buren's the host.
All right. No, no, it
Okay, there
didn't.
you are,
And
Brooke.
no, he's not.
Thank
That's
God you're back, Brooke. Thank God you're back.
Oh, my 1 minute of fame.
Did Nancy email you, Brooke?
No, about what?
She talked about the fees, et
No,
cetera.
no, she did not. I know she,
Well-
I wanted to talk about the fees before I put this up on the town website for kids to apply.
Yep. Well,
I got a summer program information sheet that specified the fees from Easton, Mansfield, Bridgewater, West Bridgewater, Rainham, and East Bridgewater.
Right,
Right.
that just shows the surrounding towns.
Yeah,
I know Nancy, basically what she was doing is she was charging $15 per session per child, and then she had a break if you had 2 or 3 kids. And I think she was talking about going up $5 to $20 accordingly, one of the reasons is I don't believe we're gonna have use of the school as of right now. I haven't heard anything, but that's the rumor. Because they have the base program in there. And I don't think they want our kids in there at the same time. So I know Brooke asked them, correct?
Yes,
To put a permit in, and we haven't heard anything, have you?
I have a permit in.
Right,
And other than that, I haven't heard back.
correct. So,
They'll
But the
probably wait
scuttlebutt-
till we're done using the fields and then cut us out of the school.
well, so we still have a half-a-day program, and if it rains, we would then cancel. The issue has always been when you're trying to hire kids, you're paying them for 5 hours. On rainy days, you're not paying them because we have to be self-sustaining. So I don't think $5 is a big deal to go up. It's been a long time since we had an increase. I think we should go along with the program, and we can get something up. I would really go to HR. That's who you have to deal with, Brooke, not Brad.
Oh,
Brad is the IT guy, but as far as hiring, you want to put something online about the fees in a program, right?
yeah.
That's Brad. That's Brad.
Oh, all right.
But for any hiring, he doesn't do that. That has to go through HR.
Who's in
Charlie,
charge of HR, Charlie?
Her name is Jessica Rojas. And she comes under the town manager's office. But they would all have to be interviewed in a Zoom meeting. We've been going through with everyone. Even anybody that worked in the past, Nancy would have to go through that too, as a program director. So it's gonna be a tough one.
Charlie, the $5 increase you mentioned, do we have to make a motion to approve that, or is that just something you do?
No, that would be something that you guys could vote on if that's what you so choose.
So
I
what do you
don't know
want to
if
go
you-
from, what do you want to go from what to what?
Well,
15
I would just leave it like as a $5 increase.
Well, what is it now, Charlie?
Across the board.
It doesn't say on under
Whatever
Bridgewater
deal-
what it is.
What's that? What's that, Mike? $15.
It's $15 per day per kid.
Child.
Yeah, it's a half a day. So
A
some
half
of
a
those towns, I don't have it in front of me.
Okay.
When did you send that email out? Today, Brooke?
I'm sorry, Charlie, I'm losing you.
When did you send that email about other towns? Today?
I thought it was last night.
Okay, let me flip on.
I didn't
here.
see it.
I saw it. I'm
Regardless of that, I'm
just
gonna make-
jumping back to it.
Mr. Chairman, regardless of that, I'd like to make a motion, it's $25 a day. That's a motion.
Do I hear
Yeah,
a
across
second?
the board.
Yeah.
Do I hear a second on that motion?
Second,
Second,
All in favor? Do a roll
Aye.
call.
So she wants to
Raise it to
increase-
$5.
No,
motion on the floor.
I think I raised it. There's a motion on the floor we need to discuss, but I think I raised it to 25, so I think that might be a $10 increase per day, but I just think that $25 for half a day or whatever it is pretty reasonable in this day and age. I think if I'm doing my math correctly, did I increase it $10 from what it was?
Correct.
I missed it.
The motion was to go $25 per day for the fee.
Thank
I
you.
believe- I believe that might be a $10 increase, not 5.
That is it.
I actually went higher than what Ms. Wood had
Yes,
requested. So it's on the floor to discuss.
Yeah, I would just change it to per session. You mean half
Yeah,
a day, right?
Per session, yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah, that's all.
But-
Yeah, I got you.
Brooke, did you send us out? I'm looking at, you sent us a summary of other, oh, wait a minute. Maybe I
that's
didn't go
irrelevant.
far
There's a
enough. Hold on. I didn't go far enough.
Doesn't matter what other towns are doing. I got a motion for $25 per session. Vote it up or put it down.
second, there's already a second.
It's already a second, we're discussing it.
I'm sorry, who
Okay, let's-
seconded it?
What's that?
I didn't know. I lost you guys for a few minutes.
I
Who
made-
seconded it?
Tommy did.
Tommy did.
Thank you.
Okay, I have a question. What is she giving us a basis to increase it?
Doesn't, what's,
Like, what's her rationale for wanting the increase?
It hasn't gone up for a long time.
correct. And
Okay,
our pay is gonna go up. Probably gonna go up from $12 to $13.50.
Costs are going up. We
Yeah.
haven't raised the rate in years. It's also a revenue source for us. I really.
and you,
okay. Okay, I'm looking at the program fees. And I don't know if we want to include in the motion because there's right now it's $15 for the first child, $10 for the second child with a $35 family maximum. So if we're jumping it to $25 a day, that's okay, $10 extra for that, then we should also increase the second child.
Yeah, across the board.
Dead across the board.
That's what I would recommend, is going right across the board, $10, if that's what your motion is.
Yep.
Okay.
Right now it would be, if you had 3 kids,
Yeah,
if you had 3 kids, it would be 45.
Right.
Oh.
I make a friendly amendment to Danny's
What?
motion to make it say $10 across the board.
yeah, or just, I can rescind my initial motion and
Okay,
reintroduce a new one. All right, so I'll withdraw my motion and I'd like to
Mr.
make,
Riggi, do you withdraw your second?
Yes.
okay, I'd like to make a new motion that it would be a $10 increase across the board on our current fees for the program. Does that make sense?
yeah,
Yes.
second,
Second, Gina, thank you.
All in favor? We got to do a roll call.
Yep.
Yeah.
mhm,
Mr. Riggi,
Yes.
Mr. Buron,
Yes,
Mr. Campbell,
Yes.
Whoops.
yes,
Ms. Guasconi,
yes,
Mr. Flaherty.
Yes,
Okay. All right, unanimous.
Yeah, if we're gonna cancel because of rain, because of, can't get into the school, it's gonna cause all kinds of problems, because if you can't cancel it after the people drop their kids off, if they're going to work or going wherever they're going. So we'll have to be careful when, if that's gonna be the case.
Nancy
I
always,
think the other thing you'd have to do is have like a emergency, like lightning and stuff, a place to go, Charlie, right?
Yeah,
well, that's what we've always had, and we've able to get them into the school or at least up onto the gazebo. But in the
How about
past,
the vets-
when we had the building by ourselves, sometimes we could get them in our building, but that can't be the case this year with water and sewer being there. So, Nancy always had a thing that if we had to cancel for whatever reason and somebody had paid, they would always get another day the next week or something like that.
yeah, I don't care about paying them. I'm worried about 10 o'clock in the morning and you canceling it, and because it starts pouring and the parent is in Abington or somewhere. You're gonna have to, you end up dropping them off at the police station or something.
Charlie, is the
well,
Vets Club Hall of a possibility just for emergency situations? Just to get them in the big hall till the parents.
We've
can come?
never had to, put it that way, but we always had the gym. So,
Years ago, didn't we use it, Charlie?
Play ball, I think play ball, baseball did, but
yeah,
just
They
for
did.
emergency. No.
Yeah,
but
all right.
they have it all set up. I think they have the function room all set up all the time. I haven't been over there in years, so, but I think we ought to wait and hear from the school, and then we'll come up
Yeah.
with plan B.
That's all I'm suggesting, Charlie, is,
Yeah,
people don't stay home all the time anymore, so.
yeah.
And they have been known to use that for babysitting, right? Because it's
Well,
cheaper than
that's-
daycare.
Sure it is. Yep.
That's all.
Well, the only other thing now with the technology, the weather forecasts are better, but it's just like canceling school some days. You think you're gonna get a big snowstorm. They want to cancel ahead of time so parents can make their other arrangements, and then it doesn't snow. But I mean, so you're gonna run that risk, but you just have to do it by a certain time. And then I just think we need to talk to the school just for emergency situations, a heavy downpour, a lightning
Yeah.
strike,
Yeah, and that's really it's always been that way, but that's the scuttlebutt I've heard, but you know what?
You're not talking
Okay.
a lot of kids usually, right, Charlie, in one session? I mean, they're not-
Usually 20, 25 at the most. But
And we have to have Zoom meetings.
I know, it's crazy.
What
What else?
about the $5 registration fee that's non-refundable? Do you want to keep that?
I don't see why we would change that.
Okay,
Right, I would say keep it.
okay. Public
further-
comment? Anybody? I mean, you have no public left.
We have no public left.
No, we already took care of that.
Okay,
Yep.
Next meeting date?
First Monday in June, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
Unless you get a meeting with the town manager,
Right.
you know, then you need to post that.
Yep.
What's that, Chuck?
No. Charlie, did you say you were meeting with the town manager this week or with the finance director?
Finance director.
Okay. Could you just kind of put a bug in his ear that we're looking to finance, we're looking for the town to finance, admin for us?
Sure.
Okay, he's good to put bugs in his ears. He's a helpful chap.
If I'm looking at my calendar right, it'd be June 7th.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Not that it should impact things, but I would not be available that day. So even more reason to probably have it that day.
Maybe you underestimate how much we miss you.
Are you on vacation?
Who, me?
No.
No, Dan.
No, I have a Holy Cross alumni football golf tournament that day, so I'll be
Oh,
tired.
boy. Yeah, you're not coming back.
How do you get out of school for that?
It's at night golf.
Seriously.
Oh, Jesus.
I played that once.
I did too, a couple
With
of
the
years
balls
ago,
with the
and
lights in 'em?
postponed it from the
John Muir.
original.
John Muir. That's right.
That was a long time ago, fellas, at Pine Oaks, a long
Yep.
time.
That was a long time ago.
I did it at Squirrel Run, not last October, the October before, and it was supposed to be in September. And it poured and poured torrential downpours that day, so they postponed it. They rebooked it for the end of October. It was so bitter cold. One of my friends golfing with us had on a long quilted jacket. We had on scarves. It was unbelievably cold.
Yeah. I just remember how much fun it was watching my ball go to the bottom of the ponds. As the light goes down and the fish go for it.
Mhm. Yeah,
Does anyone have any other business to talk about?
not I.
No,
Does anyone have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
all right.
Mr.
Roll
Riggi?
call.
Yes.
Mr. Riggi in favor? Yes, okay.
Yes.
Mr. Buron?
No, I'm having too much fun. No.
Should show up or?
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mr. Flaherty?
Yes.
And Ms. Wasconi?
Yes.
Okay, meeting is adjourned.
Good night.
Thank you, guys. And
Mr.
thank you
Chairman,
for,
nice job, Mike.
Not
yeah,
really.
good job, Mike. I still want to know how you got your background like that, Mike.
Very expensive.
Maybe I need Emily to fix mine too.
Good
Yeah.
night. Oh, God. What's that? Oh, is it awful?
Whoop, Tom. Okay.